the idea is that in this session, which is I think the first kind of technical session of this event, we are trying to bring the aspect that how new technologies, including robots and AI, can help or has potential to help in literature, culture, language, or whatever needs we can think about. But before that, the most important thing is that रोबोट होता क्या है या एआई क्या है, हम लोग उसको किस तरह से डिफाइन कर सकते हैं, और क्या किसी सिस्टम को देखकर हम लोग बता सकते हैं कि ये रोबोट है या एआई है, मशीन है, और इसकी कैपेबिलिटीज़ क्या है. सो दैट इज़ द मेन थिंग विच वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड, दैट वेयर इज़ द real advancement which is happening in technology. So I am Amit Kumar Pandey. I have been working with several robotics and AI companies in France. I have a PhD in robotics and AI, and in other parts of the world also I have worked. So we have tried to create lots of applications through robotics and AI for healthcare, for education, for skill development, for service sector, for public facing application. So this is the slide which is basically to give you an idea that robots are really wide ranging. If you will see some of the robots which are on the top right, I don't know how many of you can recognize that robot. Yes, so this is Sophia robot. So I was the president and CTO of the company also. The key here is that, as you can see, it has a facial expression. So robots are also getting human-like faces. And as you can see, these robots, some of them are having legs, some of them are having wheels, some are having hands which are very complex like humans, some are having grippers like very simple hands. They have different kind of sensors. They are able to perceive environment. They are able to see what is around, and based on that they are even able to make some decisions, or to think about that what kind of behavior it should be doing. So this slide is again telling that there are different needs. Needs means we can think about that where we want to put a robot, or which kind of AI we should develop to help us. And based on those needs, different capabilities of the system should be designed, and based on all those capabilities, the final solution should be coming. And that is very important. Otherwise, we will not be able to bring the importance and impact of the technology to the society, back to the society. So I think it is already enough for you to understand that there are really different kinds of robots. There is one robot which is in golden color, which was mostly for a space application. Then there are robots which are for human-like environment. There are small robots, big robots. So what I am trying to say is that all these kinds of robots I have worked with personally, and obviously with the team, and these robots have been designed for different applications. So today's session we will try to explore what are the key potential applications of the new technology, how it is impacting, and then what we can think about the social innovation which we can bring. So we will have two speakers online, and one online and two are already on the stage, and I am also supposed to be a speaker and moderator, so I will try to balance my role. Whenever I don't have anything to speak, I will ask others to speak as moderator. So we can perhaps start with the first question, because we already had introduction to our speakers. So the first question is really that as the people who have been contributing in this domain of new technologies and bringing technology and science back to the society, what is your biggest worry, in the sense that when new technologies like robotics and AI is coming, and we have our fundamental need of literature and culture and preservation of language, do you think there is something, the gap which is bringing wider, or this kind of technology can reduce the gap? So perhaps we can start with Professor Behera.
Sorry. So thank you, Professor Pandey. I'm very happy to be in this Nalanda Literature Festival on this very topic, Sabdoki Factory. Uh, uh, Actually, little like, for me, it's kind of a little alien to say Sabdoki Factory. Because uh, when we were brought up, we learned our vocabulary in our mother tongue from our own parents and then friends, teachers. But more important in that process is to express yourself. You want to be creative, or you have certain problem, or you need certain ways to be helped for yourself to be expressive. And in that way, we were trained in specific vocabulary, culture played a role, their value system, all these things played a role. Now, what's happening? For example, just now I was talking with Aditi, and technology has literally globalized the so called vocabulary that we have. And hence, the original cultural roots are completely destroyed. Uh, why this happened? Because AI is not based on consciousness. AI has been developed based on data. And data is not coming from one source, it is coming from all varieties of sources. When I did my PhD, 91 to 95, I did my research in AI. Whatever I did those days, the same thing is being done now. The only thing is the architecture has increased. It has become very huge. Computational power has reached skybound. And hence, the language manipulation, the same model. For example, when you train a machine in a language, it is all based on English language. You have a word order. Suppose word is X, what comes before X, what comes after X. And you learn this distribution. That's why if you give an query in whether a Google Gemini or Chat GPT, same question, every time you get a different answer because the model is probabilistic and there is a pattern. So as a result, you get different kind of answer. But what is missing current AI paradigm is our own inner engineering, my cultural milieu, my own expressive uh, uh, etho. So all those things are missing. Suppose I want to express myself, I don't think AI can help me at the present status. It is kind of an ocean of vocabularies, and using the model, which is a single model, universal model, it is trying to fit and gives me a vocabulary that may not satisfy my own expressive thought. So, in that sense, the current AI has created a wide gap between inner engineering and outer engineering. Outer engineering is all about commerce. Outer engineering is all about scalability. Outer engineering is all about might is the power. Whereas the inner engineering is a very tiny person sitting there wants to be illuminated, wants to express, wants to be emotionally connected to the world. I think there is a complete mismatch as far as current AI and the individual centric goal is concerned.
So that's very interesting perspective because it is really highlighting that there is a need to find local solutions. There is a need to create solution locally for the local needs, and we should not really impose solutions from some other place or some other for some other needs on a particular environment, particular culture or particular application. So that's where we have to start creating a collaborative ecosystem here within India as well. So what is your view on this, Dr. Aditi?
नमस्ते। आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस को हिंदी में कृत्रिम मेधा कह दिया गया है। तो हम सभी समझ रहे हैं कि अनुवाद ही ठीक नहीं हुआ आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस का ही खुद, तो बाकी तो छोड़ दीजिए। I'll pick up from where Professor Behera left, and the whole idea of working with a thought system, which is essentially not a thought system, is a mechanical system, is to understand that how much could have been done through automation and how much more is to be done through human intervention. The whole concept of artificial intelligence that we understand in the field of literature, now that we are dealing with it every day through the uh, through the manuscripts that we are receiving, we never imagined we will have to deploy softwares like Turnitin to understand how much of it is plagiarized, but we are doing it now for Hindi. And the good thing is that also shows that the internet users in Hindi language, for example, that's the language I work in, is has remarkably increased. We've just finished a project with OpenAI and Oxford University, where they are teaching their systems to understand Hindi better. And we've understood one thing very clearly, और मैं आपको आश्वस्त कर सकती हूँ आज कि वो हमारे मुहावरे, हमारी लोकोक्तियाँ, हमारी लोक भाषा, लोक ज्ञान, विज्ञान, ये सिस्टम नहीं समझ सकता। तो हम वहाँ पर सुरक्षित हैं जहाँ हमारी भाषा, जहाँ हमारी संवेदनाएं सुरक्षित हैं। लेकिन एक बात देखने वाली ये है कि जहाँ जो चीज़ मशीन से हो सकती है, उसे मशीन से करवाया जाए, और जहाँ मनुष्य की आवश्यकता है वो काम मनुष्य ज़्यादा बेहतर करें। जैसे अगर खेती की समझ मनुष्य को बेहतर है, लेकिन सैटेलाइट के ज़रिए, यदि, क्योंकि आप में से कई बच्चे किसान परिवारों से हैं, सैटेलाइट के ज़रिए अगर आप समझ सकें कि ह्यूमिडिटी, पानी, धूप, पोल्यूशन कितना होने वाला है आपके क्षेत्र में, तो आप बेहतर समझ से, क्योंकि मिट्टी किसान से बेहतर कोई नहीं समझता, आप बेहतर समझ से उस अपनी ज़मीन को उर्वर रख सकते हैं। यहाँ पे कुछ लैब कोट में बच्चे दिख रहे हैं मुझे, जो बड़ी खुशी की बात है कि लिटरेचर के सेशन में लैब कोट वाले बच्चे हैं। तो आप लोग भी जानते हैं कि किस तरह से भारत सरकार के बहुत बड़ी योजनाएं चल रही हैं, जिसमें ऐसी दवाइयाँ सस्ते में मुहैया कराई जा रही हैं, जो कि बाहर की विदेशी कंपनियां हमें डंपिंग ग्राउंड की तरह भारत के बाजार को इस्तेमाल करती हैं, और कई बार तो गलत दवाइयाँ भी गलत सॉल्ट्स के साथ भी हमारे लिए उपलब्ध हो जाती हैं। आप लोग पढ़ रहे हैं, जानते हैं कि एआई में भारत के परिप्रेक्ष्य को लेकर, यहाँ की बॉडी टाइप्स को लेकर, यहाँ की बीमारियाँ, आपको आश्चर्य होगा कि डायबिटीज़ से ज़्यादा ओबेसिटी एक बहुत बड़ी बीमारी हमारे देश में उभर रही है। कैंसर इंस्टीट्यूट्स की अब बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरत होने वाली है। तो आपके लिए, रिसर्च के लिए एआई जो चीज़ उपलब्ध करा सकती है वो करें, लेकिन भारत की परिस्थिति को आपसे ज़्यादा बेहतर मनुष्य के स्तर पे कोई नहीं समझ सकता। तो टेक्नोलॉजी और मनुष्यता को साथ में चलना पड़ेगा। हम उसका कैसे बेहतर इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं, वो हमारे हाथ की बात है। दूसरी बात ये, मैं एआई के इतिहास में कुछ रिसर्च कर रही थी, 1928 में एक जापानी साइंटिस्ट, प्लीज करेक्ट मी इफ आई एम रॉन्ग सर, यू आर अ स्पेशलिस्ट इन दिस सब्जेक्ट, आई एम नॉट, बट मुझे ये समझ आया कि एक जापानी साइंटिस्ट थे जो जिन्होंने एक प्ले देखा जो कि एक रशियन प्ले राइट का था, जिसमें वो प्ले राइट दिखाता है कि अंत में एक मशीन के पास ही जाकर एक आशिक को आराम मिला, क्योंकि महिलाओं से उसके हाथ खड़े कर लिए उसने। वो उससे इतना प्रेरित हुए, इतने दुखी हुए कि उन्होंने अपनी टोक्यो यूनिवर्सिटी से रिज़ाइन किया और उन्होंने सोचा कि अब मैं दुनिया का पहला ऐसा रोबोट बनाऊँगा जो कि ऐसा मशीनीकरण ना करे संवेदनाओं का। उन्होंने बनाया, बहुत ही बड़ा इस पे न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स ने 1998 में और 1991 में उनके बेटे के साथ इंटरव्यूज़ करके, बहुत बड़ी रिसर्च है, आप सब इंटरनेट पे देख सकते हैं। अम, अंत में हुआ ये कि उन्होंने ये रोबोट बनाया जिसकी चीन में, जापान में बहुत प्रदर्शनियाँ हुई और फिर जब वो रशिया ले जाया जा रहा था, जर्मनी के ज़रिए, जर्मनी के रास्ते से उनका वो पूरा टूर था, वो वहाँ पे गायब कर दिया गया। 1932 के बाद उस रोबोट का क्या हुआ किसी को नहीं पता। और फिर सडनली इन 1950s वी सी अनदर मॉडल ऑफ एन एडवांस मॉडल ऑफ दैट टेक्नोलॉजी। तो मुझे ये समझ आया ये इतिहास पढ़कर कि जिस तकनीक के इतिहास में ही इतना षड्यंत्र हो, तो उसके साथ ज़रा सँभल के चलना चाहिए। तो हम सँभल के चल रहे हैं और अच्छी बात ये है कि हम अपनी भाषा के पास हैं। हिंदी, तमिल, उड़िया, बांग्ला, ये भाषाएँ एआई के कंट्रोल में नहीं आ पाएँगी। भाषाएँ एआई को कंट्रोल ज़रूर करना सीख सकती हैं, क्योंकि बहुत धन्यवाद। क्योंकि अभी मैं प्रोफ़ेसर बेहरा से बात कर रही थी, तो उन्होंने एक बात बहुत सही कही कि ये सीक्वेंशियल मॉडल अंडरस्टैंडिंग, एलएलएम सारे सीक्वेंस की तरह समझते हैं मॉडल्स को। लेकिन हमारी भाषाएँ इस तरीके के मैथमेटिकल सीक्वेंस में नहीं चलती। जो भाषा नॉन एंग्लो सैक्सनी प्रिविलेज से या लेगेसी से आती हैं, सो कॉल्ड प्रिविलेज से या उसकी लेगेसी से इतर हैं, वो बच जाएँगी, क्योंकि हमारा मैथमेटिकल कोड वैसा है।
Yes, very interesting perspective and opinion, I think, because that is the fundamental that when we are trying to introduce a technology into the society, it should not be developed or designed from one side. It has to be a co-design approach where we bring people in the designing phase itself and trying to understand what is the need and how we can create something which can create the positive impact instead of simply imposing a technology to the society or to the people. So that's very interesting perspectives and thanks. So now we have our another speaker who is joining directly live from Sweden, and welcome Ilaria, and she is working on a very interesting frontier like how machines, robots and human can communicate. So let us see her perspective because she has been deploying this kind of technology really to the society and understanding the very depth and details of what is going well, what is not going well, how they should be communicating verbally and non-verbally. So did you hear the question, Ilaria, or should I repeat it?
Yeah, very nice to be there virtually. Just to answer the question, I definitely agree with what has been said before on the dangers of AI and the homogenization risks of language, but also other forms of communication like dialects and accents. This was a phenomenon we had already been seeing before with, things like standardization of language, etc. And with the use of sort of like models which tend to kind of flatten out the type of language that gets used, this can only get worse. But on the plus side of things, I also see this as a potential opportunity to bring back and revitalize language in a way that was not possible before. So because it is data driven, it is just a matter of like the will of the policymakers and the will of the stakeholders to collect the data that is needed to, for example, revitalize a dying language. And this could be done with tools that were not possible before. Also, bringing back the topic of robots, which is what really I work with, the difference between a robot and AI in general is that a robot is embodied. So a robot lives in our physical world, in our physical environment. and it can or cannot be powered by AI. I mean, nowadays we're seeing that many of the conversations we can have with robots are powered by AI, but the actual physical robot lives in a world that is still, of course, dominated by physical laws. So it has to move in a certain way, it cannot defy gravity, etc. So I see this as an opportunity for, it's obvious, it's clear that the robot is a machine because we can see it in front of us. It's made of metal and plastic, etc. So having, for example, a robot that is programmed to speak to us in our original language or original dialect could bring back some of these nuances that might have been lost if we just communicated via text with an AI. So, for example, with some of my work, I have been working on giving robots different accents. So I used to work in the UK, where there is a lot of, or at least there used to be a lot of stigma and stereotyping associated with accents. And by kind of giving robots different accents, which might be associated with negative stereotypes, I was kind of able to show that in certain contexts, it's possible to reduce these stereotyping associations towards accents when the accent was spoken by a robot. So there is some potential there too. And I don't know why this is the case. It might be that there is still sort of like a big novelty effect, like people see a robot in general and they think that the robot is a almighty, all-knower entity, and they tend to overtrust it, which is a problem we're also working on. But in general, it can be used for, bringing back, normalizing, and allowing things that we thought could be lost to actually bring them back, because it's up to us. And I also definitely agree with doing community workshops or like focus groups and really understanding with the participatory design approach, really understanding what the people who will be using those robots or those technologies need, and then making sure that they are involved in the decision making and the design process of these tools. I hope you heard my little rant.
Yeah, thanks. So just to summarize, I think the work C and many groups in Europe are doing is to understand when these technologies are really going back to society to interact with common people, what are the issues? And trust is one of the factors, that how trustworthy this kind of interaction and communication can be, and what are the technical and scientific challenges which we have to handle. And as she mentioned, there is obviously perhaps the question of novelty, like something new is coming and everyone is so excited. Let us do, let us try. But what is the long-term impact and acceptance of this kind of technology? So this is where we are currently in terms of the development of this kind of technology and their deployment in the real world scenario. And again, we have to create a like joint initiative to make the development impactful. Just to give you an example, in past in Europe, we have been engaged in a very big European and Japanese funded project where we try to create the kind of cultural knowledge in the robot, so that when it is taking care of a person who is from Indian cultural background, it is interacting differently by setting up the context from India. When it is interacting with someone from Japanese background, the whole conversation is different. And when it is communicating with someone from the UK or France, it is communicating differently. So that was one of the world first very large scale real world culturally aware robot deployment and development from science and technology perspective, to understand this very important factor, that how culture plays a role and how AI might have a kind of understanding about culture and language and literature in our communication. So I think we got very interesting perspective from all the three panelists about the first question, and now we have only 15 minutes, so I will have very short question to all the panelists, and then we will be making it open for the audience to ask. And this is not a question, this is basically to understand the imagination, that how imaginative we can be, perhaps inspired by science fiction or not. But the idea is that assuming that we have all the resources which we need and all the authority which we need, what should be the next kind of robot you want to build or see for whatever application we can think about. So it is not necessarily that something is existing or not existing, but if you have everything, you have to create a robot like a god. You are the god, creator of the robot, what it should be like. So perhaps we will start from you and then we will go to Professor Behera. Yeah. And then Ilaria, I will come to you, start thinking.
मुझे लगता है जो सबसे उम्दा किस्म का रोबोट जिसे पूरी मनुष्यता को इस समय सबसे बड़ी आवश्यकता है वो है कि बचपन से ही एक ऐसा सिस्टम हमारे साथ चले जो हमें बता पाए कि जो भी हम खाना खा रहे हैं या पानी पी रहे हैं, जिस भी स्रोत से वो आया है वो उसकी हमें पूरी जानकारी दे। जिस भी जगह से वो अनाज आया है, उसकी पूरी जानकारी हमें जीपीएस एलोकेशन से मिल सके कि उस मिट्टी में कितना पेस्टिसाइड मिला था या कितने समय में किसान ने वो खाद तैयार की। उसके बाद वो एआई सिस्टम अगर मुझे इमेजिनेटिवली सोचना हो तो वो यूँ चले कि जब हम टीनेज में हों, हमारी आने वाली पीढ़ियाँ और हार्ट ब्रेक हो पहला, तो जब चैट जीपीटी में वो सवाल डालें कि माय गर्लफ्रेंड स्लैश बॉयफ्रेंड लेफ्ट मी व्हाट शुड आई डू, तो वो ये ना कहे कि जाके आत्महत्या कर लो, जो कि हुआ है पिछले दिनों में। तो वो कुछ उम्मीद भरी बात कह सकें और नया रास्ता दिखा सकें। और फिर जब वही सिस्टम आगे बढ़े, तो वो बेटर फाइनेंशियल प्लानिंग अपनी ही भाषा में सिखा सके। मुझे अभी पता चला कि भारत में फिनटेक, अभी मैं आदरणीय गडकरी जी को सुन के आ रही हूँ बम्बई में, तो उन्होंने कहा कि फिनटेक अभी भी भारतीय भाषाओं में एक बहुत ही दुर्लभ चीज़ है कि बच्चे 18 साल की उम्र से ही सेविंग करना शुरू कर सकते हैं। ये अभी पूरा भारत नहीं सीख पाया है क्योंकि अपनी भाषा में उनको फाइनेंस कैसे काम करता है, एसआईपीज़, एसडब्ल्यूपीज़ कैसे काम करते हैं, उन्हें नहीं पता। तो ये अगर पता लगना शुरू हो जाए बच्चों को और वो फिर टीनेज से प्रौढ़ अवस्था में आएँ और उसके बाद जब वो शादीशुदा हो जाएँ, तो उन्हें ये बताया जाए कि घर में ग्रह शांति कैसे रखी जाती है। उसके लिए हवन कराने की ज़रूरत नहीं है। उसके लिए अपने पार्टनर की ज़रूरत को समझा कैसे बेहतर जाए। आपको थेरेपी की ज़रूरत नहीं है, आपको एआई बॉट अच्छे से समझा पाए। और फिर जैसे-जैसे आपकी उम्र बढ़ती जाए, आपकी क्या तबीयत हो रही है, किस तरीके के मेडिसिन्स अगर डॉक्टर सजेस्ट कर रहे हैं, तो उसका क्या मतलब हो सकता है, वो जानकारी आपको अपनी भाषा में मिल जाए। मुझे लगता है कि अगर मेरे लिए एआई का सपना है, तो वो हर इंसान के लिए ऐसा सपना है।
बहुत बढ़िया। पीछे सारे लोगों में उम्मीद जग गई है, जितने भी यंग बैठे हुए हैं। So, but that is very interesting point because this is where we have to identify what is the gap, what are our limitations and capabilities as human, and how AI and robots can enhance our existence. And the example which she gave, that perhaps a robot can speak in all languages and it can have access to all kind of information which you are needing for. And most important, it is available for you 24 hours 7. So you don't have to wait. You can get personalized solution, personalized information on a spot, and then enhance your decision making or enhance your way of existence or living as well. So I think that is very interesting and futuristic. I don't know if Professor Behera is seeing the same future or different one. Let us hear his perspective.
Thank you. Thank you. Recently, we had a meeting at IIT Mandi. How do we use AI to improve the pedagogy? And we decided that every department will have at least one course that will be AI-driven pedagogy. And we agreed upon agentic model. This agentic model will be supported by our own students. For example, these courses will be deployed in the first year, and those courses, the third year students will come help the teacher to develop the agentic model and teach. But given his question, let me make it a little more imaginative such that those who are sitting here can appreciate. All of you know that mental health has become a pandemic. It's really pandemic. Uh, every IIT is losing precious lives because we are not able to reach out to them. With the too much of gadgets, social isolation has become the rule of the land. Everybody is living an isolated life. It is not helping them. So can we have the problem of scalability, because we don't have many counselors. They can sit with every individual and give them association. And also, I have talked to many of our counselors. Many times they get really fried up because throughout the day they're talking and listening to people. It's not easy to listen to them, digest them, and you don't get affected. You really get affected as a counselor. Also, we have to see that. So can the AI technology have a solution for it? That means every individual who are going through this loneliness period have a companion. But particularly, I would like an Indian solution based on narration of the some of the lessons from Ramayana or Mahabharata, our Indian folk culture, getting all those things and using them as counseling point, and really taking care of the emotional need for every individual. I think this is something that we can really look forward, given this is a problem that we are suffering. We don't have enough counselors, and can we bridge that gap using agentic? We have different kind of solution in AI. One is agentic solution. Can we do that? So this is something that we can look forward.
Yeah, that's again very interesting. Like we have real societal problems to handle, and how we can think about that new technology when we integrate lots of technologies together can be potentially solving some of those problems, and obviously in the culturally aware manner, so that it is again not something seen as imposed but something seen as integrated solution for the society and for the people, and that can be one interesting project which we can push together. Yeah. So coming back to you, Ilaria, just enlighten us with your imagination.
So in my imagination, I see two ideal. If I could build any robot that could do anything, then I would look at things in two different scales. One is on the personal scale. I would love to have a robot that helps me with just organizing my day and like really reminds me of what I have to do, and I don't know, reads my mind somehow and prevents me from making stupid mistakes. But that's on a more day-to-day kind of individual level. On a societal level, I feel like another issue that I see is the increasing gap between different groups of people, the increasing distrust towards science, towards the increasing kind of misunderstanding or like not believing of something, what is real, what is true, and what is false, and also increasing inequalities and increasing hatred between groups of people. And perhaps I would love to see some robots or some AI helping us become closer to each other and become more understanding and more open and more accepting of differences. And maybe this could, ultimately lead to a more peaceful and a more trusting society in general.
Thanks. So that is another perspective where we have to see that how AI and robots can bring people together instead of letting them getting apart or like segmented in different parts or kinds of societies, and that's very interesting perspective as well to see. And really there have been projects on this kind of application. One, you might be aware about autism, so children with autism, Sometimes they need a different kind of therapy and engagement, and robots have been seen very useful for connecting those children with mainstream society. There have been another project in which how elderly people who are living in elderly care facility or living alone can be more connected with rest of the world, with their family, with the society. So there have been very positive and successful societal application of robots and AI. And also in Professor Behera lab, I have seen very interesting example where robot was learning. Like you demo something that you have to pour a pour water in the glass, and it was learning from the demonstration, and it was able to do that task for someone who is in a nursing facility and who is taking some healthcare treatment. And there is the robot which is bridging the gap between the healthcare professional and the person who is getting treated. During COVID, we have done one very interesting demo, again together with Tata TCS and IISc Bangalore, where robot was the nurse, avatar nurse. You might have watched Avatar movie. So we have really created a robotic avatar, which was avatar of a nurse who is sitting somewhere outside. And because of social distancing, we have to maintain distance. So robot was bridging that gap by being the avatar of the nurse and going to the patient, monitoring the patient vital signs, and also serving, like giving a glass of water or something. But it was done by a human who is sitting behind that robot. So again, there is another very interesting perspective that we can bridge the physical gap as well once we are putting robots at the right place and with the right kind of capabilities. So with this, I think we are good. We have 5 minutes, and we can think if who has some questions.
I'll be very quick so that students have a chance. I think I'd like to bring a counterpoint to what has been said about the potential of AI and robotics. I believe that in spite of the very good targeted applications that have been mentioned by Amit and other speakers, I think many of those problems that you mentioned are created by technology already. So we are actually putting people into a loop of technology where they risk being totally enclosed by problems solved by excessive technology exposure will again be solved by living with another form of technology. So that's one point. Second point is, in order for these robotics and other maybe AI applications to work properly, you need a multimodal data collection, not only text or speech, but gesture, body language, expression on the face, the heat produced by the body, the sweating. All of these give you the actual information about the internal state of the person. So this is massive surveillance. So I think the problem with this evolution of humanoid robotics or other types of solutions is a massive information and data collection you need to do on the individual. So these are 2 points that I wish to put forward. Thank you.
Good morning, sir. Myself, Chris Kumar, and I also have some questions. Like you also mentioned that social media is isolating the peoples, and AI just not giving the persons to ability for having critical thinking. Peoples were also losing that critical thinking. Like we have to solve the mathematical, so AI just have to working on large LLM, like a large language model, so it can solve, but the people were using that. So ultimately people were saving their not using their brains and using critical thinkings, have already having data. So how will you just think to improve that personality of people and how it could help the humanity? Thank you.
Another last question from someone, then we will start the answers. Yeah.
Sir, I am a psychiatrist. My name is Dr. Amit Kumar Verma from local medical college. Just we discussed a lot about mental health and AI. Just I want to ask that today, because we are living in an era of Consumer Protection Act, and obviously AI is generated by some people, group, and it's like a machinery. Today, you have to apply this act on doctors. you blame them, you charge them in crores and something like. And recently, you also discussed, we have learned that ChatGPT led to suicidal attempt and even murderous act. Recently, we read it. Tomorrow, whom you will find guilty for this? That's
We had some hands, yeah, from behind, yeah.
My name is Birikran Chauhan. I am BBA student Chaitanya International Business School. My question is, do you think AI will reduce unemployment, created new types of jobs for students? How should college preparation of this?
Good morning, the host and the professors. I am Anshika, student from class 10th in your high school, Patna. I have a very precise question from you people, that how can we intervene the AI to the national development, specifically talking about Bihar and overall India? Thank you.
Okay. I think we have enough set of questions and we are already running out of time. So I will request to be brief in the answers, and then we can even discuss later on with the people who are interested.
So I will take a couple of questions and I'll allow Aditi ma'am to answer some questions, and then
Then Ilaria, yeah, we will request her to.
Amit Pandey will take some. So first, the mom asked this question. Technology is already spoiling. Why we are bringing technology further, and plus data privacy. These are the questions that the first question. Personally, I also have this kind of concern, but one of the things is that AI had a certain purpose. AI has a certain purpose, is that we see when man and machine, they have to interact. It's a very natural way, because we are not talking in terms of our individual space to be shared by some other machine. What we are trying to see here, imagine a doctor is going to do a surgery, okay, or somebody is doing a space exploration. So here we have an interaction with the machine, and we would like that machine also to be as intelligent as I am, so that my communication is better. So this is the very ethos by which AI started. AI started with the idea that let us also make machine not to be dull, but they are also intelligent enough that they can cooperate with us, they can help us better. That was the purpose. But somewhere things have gone, but you see that as long as we put a break on what we are developing, I think things will be all right. So this is a big issue. Your question, another person, the ethical AI, is an issue that we are all struggling with to develop, because when we say we are developing a system that is being empowered by the current AI, ethics are not there, because it collects data from different domains. And it is not necessarily the data which it is collecting are trustworthy. And we don't have any such methods until now. People are developing. It's not that researchers are sleeping. They know the problem. They are working on it. And you know that ChatGPT, its age is now 2019, so this is 25, 6-year-old. We already know there are varieties of issues that we are going to face. Researchers are working on it. And I think some solution will come very near future, because as a research community, we are also concerned about it. But this is an issue as far as ethical AI is concerned. And I will give a last question answer before handing Aditi. India-centric AI. All said, all the bubble around the AI, we do not have India-centric data. In fact, I have been in IIT Mandi for last 4 years, and with a lot of effort, we are almost reaching a threshold of collecting data for road safety. We really invested a lot on this, and we have collected data regarding the road safety. So, like that, there are so many domains in which, whether it is, of course, the Vasini and others, they have really worked on Indian languages, uh, but I am not aware of it. But as an institute, IIT Mandi, we have come up almost very soon. We are going to announce that we have data about the road safety. That means driver drowsiness, varieties of things that this data. And this data collection is not an easy thing. Data collection, people think, particularly in Indian researcher mindset, you give data, I'll work on it. This is really a sick mindset. We need our data. We always work data which is in Berkeley repository, that repository. We purchase data from outside, but we never think creating our own data. And let me tell you, creating data is very, very cumbersome. And ground truth, you collect the data, associate the ground truth with the data, is again a Herculean task. So, I very much agree. If AI, see, many of you are worried about AI employability. Because of AI, employability will go away. But you have to be AI educated, right? Given the scenario that has come, we all have to become AI literate, particularly those who want to have a job now. They have to be AI literate. But all said and done, India will not be able to take another step unless we create India-centric AI data. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah. I think we are really very late. So, Dr. Aditi, if you can just say in couple of sentences, and we will keep other questions for the later session.
I think two major points I'd like to address about data privacy and ethics. Ma'am, if we are using the emails, if we are using any of the apps of the metaverse, we've already given away our privacy. It's all in the fine print, but it's very clearly there. So, as far as data privacy is concerned, all our phone apps are listening to our conversation. They are listening to even this session. So either we go completely app agnostic and then we think about our privacy. Otherwise, we are already the matrix. We'll have to believe that. Secondly, about the ethics, I think Bharat AI is working very rigorously on coming out for the AI charter, policy charter of India, which is the need of the hour. And very correctly pointed out, sir, that at least with a human face, human agency, we have a responsibility quotient set up for questioning, for getting answers. With AI applications, it's like a faceless mob, and which is not even developed in India. Which takes us to another question about India-centric AI. I think with the kind of language systems we are working with, literary systems we are working with, cultural and art forms we are working with, we will need eventually India-centric AI system. That is the need of the hour, and I think the government is working towards it. Maybe by 2026 we will be able to see a major breakthrough. That's what we've learned from the higher officials, and let's hope for the best. कोई आपकी जॉब नहीं छीन सकता. देखिए, एक छोटी सी बात बता रही हूँ कि सबको मंच बहुत पसंद है, लेकिन जिस मंच पे उस्तादों ने अपनी उपस्थिति दर्ज कराई है, वहाँ पे पहुँचने के लिए थोड़ी मेहनत तो लगेगी ना. हम सबको गुनगुनाना पसंद है, बाथरूम सिंगर तो सारे बड़े अच्छे हैं, वहाँ पे आवाज़ भी बड़ी एको अच्छी होती है, लेकिन अगर मंच पे आके आपको कोई प्रस्तुति देनी है तो रियाज लगेगा, मेहनत लगेगी. इसीलिए समय के साथ रियाज बढ़ता है, मेहनत बढ़ती है, आपकी कला और तीखी होती है, सुंदर होती है, शार्प होती है और प्रस्तुति देने लायक होती है. इसी तरह से समय के साथ अगर आपको कदम ताल रखनी है तो तकनीक के साथ कदम ताल करनी पड़ेगी, और उससे अगर नज़र बचाएंगे तो फिर 10 साल बाद भी यही सवाल पूछेंगे कि क्या एआई हमारी जॉब खा जाएगा? जॉब एआई से ले लो अपनी वापस।
Thank you. धन्यवाद. So, Ilaria, can you just conclude in 1 minute, please?
I agree on the concerns about data privacy and ethics. Something else to say is that laws and regulations are, of course, working towards, towards making new laws and regulations to regulate what is happening with technology. But of course, the pace at which they're doing it is much slower than the pace of technology itself. So that's why it feels like they're always catching up, and it's difficult. Also, not to mention, problems with AI and robotics is the crazy sustainability issue that they arise because they're extremely power hungry. And if you look at the data on how much water the systems, the server rooms are requiring, it's really, really frightening. But that's also something we always need to take into account. And as a roboticist myself, whenever I start a new project, I always start with the so-called question zero. Like, do I even need a robot in this specific problem that I'm trying to solve? And I see more and more of my colleagues doing the same. So I think there is an awareness that, as somebody said, the problems created by technology and solved by technology, we are trying to address it and be mindful of, okay, technology and robots is not always the answer. That's all I wanted to say.
Thanks. So I think with this we can conclude the session by assuming that we have to co-design, co-develop a solution, and it should not be feel imposed, and find the right kind of challenge to solve through the technology. Thanks a lot. Thank you.